Hello and welcome back to Suspended Animation. I'm your host, Dennis Bithoulkas, and it's time for Saturday morning blast off. Welcome everybody. Happy Halloween as well. So yeah, it is Halloween right now. And there. That's about as much as I'm doing right now. So welcome everybody. We did get some, bad news, sad news, I guess you could say, last night. So Sean Connery passed away at the age of 90. And that's a good long run. It's 90 years old. Still, it's sad news. But he went peacefully into sleep. So yeah, the first, well, not the first James Bond, but the most well-known James Bond, I should say. So yeah. With that said, let me take care of some business first, and then we'll get to the news. So if you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video at the very end of this video. And if you like what you see there, basically what YouTube does, takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos, my vast video library. And if you like that, then hit that subscribe button down below. If you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, you get the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule that's up there. And then also I have all the links to all my social media. So Twitter, Instagram, Patreon. No tier set in the Patreon. Wait until I hit 1,000 subs, and then I can give you guys something if you're giving me money. That kind of thing. Excuse me. I also have a link to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves. There we go. And sorry I was late this morning. I was very late this morning. I was trying to do the fucking thumbnail there, and Oscar Isaac just did not want to be in the thumbnail, and I was fighting with it and fighting with it. Finally, we had to compromise. His people talked to my people, and then my people made some reconciliations, and then they quit. So and then we got the thumbnail that I got off of it. So there you go. Basically, I was just having problems with the Photoshop is what was going on. So speaking of Oscar Isaac, he's been cast as Mark Spector / Moon Knight in the Disney Plus series. Now, for those of you who don't know who Moon Knight is, he's a Marvel character. Everyone calls him Marvel's Batman. He really isn't Marvel's Batman. He's much more than that. So he is a superhero, a Marvel superhero who has multiple personalities. So it's an interesting combination there. And he also has powers from the god Khonshu. I can never pronounce it. It's Konshu. And he may or may not be hallucinating this. We don't know for sure, but he goes out and kicks ass all the time, every night. And he's a billionaire too. So there you go. Yeah. Stanley says Dennis is very blurry here. It's just your internet is what's going on. So yeah, it's always your internet, Stanley. That's what we always blame you on, because you always say that you can't hear me or I'm blurry or something like that. It's you got to stop watching that Agents of Shield stuff and just let it go. It's already done. So a la Legion is what you asked, Morks. No, it's not like Legion. Legion's a different thing altogether. That's all him, but in multiple timeline, in multiple realities, multiple dimensions. He's just schizophrenic, is what he has. Multiple personality disorder, Mark Spector, and that's a different story altogether. Yeah, he actually takes on different personas. Like, I think one of them's a homeless person, one of them's a cab driver, things like that. Yeah. Yeah. Never, Stanley. So yeah, that's coming to Disney Plus. They're actually going to be doing a series on that. I've been waiting for that to hear who is going to be cast. It was pretty much a given that he was going to be cast at that point. It was toss up between that and I think what was it? They were talking about doing a Star Wars Poe series, based on his character, and he's like, "Fuck that! I'm not going back to Star Wars." So there you go. He's going to Marvel instead. staying within the Disney family. Um, Netflix is going to be raising the monthly prices for just about everyone, pretty much, except if you're on the $9 tier, you're not getting your price raised. But everyone else is, for those of us in the mid tier, the most popular tier, I guess you could say, it's going up to $14 a month. For those of you in the HD tier, it's going up to $18 a month. So, yeah. If you're a new subscriber, those have already happened. We're going to see this, I believe, the next couple of months, or the next month here is what it's supposed to be. Yeah. Stanley says, I'm now a first time Disney Plus subscriber since yesterday. Nice, Stanley. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there for you to watch. Yeah. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering about it. Netflix is putting a lot of money into their shows. I have to admit, they are pouring a lot of money in there, and they are doing a lot of shows. I mean, last year it was on the order of, I think it was 750 or 800 shows, movies, all that kind of stuff they put together. And this year I think it's more. I think they're approaching the 1,000 limit at this point. Coming up 2021. So yeah, there are a lot of things happening with them. They are spending a shit ton of money, and of course they were going to raise their prices. They had to at some point. So yeah, but what do you want? I mean, everyone's at home now. Everyone's streaming. Everyone's streaming a lot of stuff, and they want new stuff. So you got to pay for it somehow. And speaking of which, Netflix is developing a live action Assassin's Creed series. That's right. They are developing a live action Assassin's Creed series. No word on if Michael Fassbender will, make a little appearance or not, but yeah, who knows? Excuse me. So they're working with Ubisoft on that one, of course, to do that. And I'm actually just scanning through the story fairly quickly here. And oh yeah, and so Derek Kolstad, of course, has been writing, who created John Wick. He's going to be working on this as well. So yeah. Oh, I take that back. He's actually working on the Splinter Cell anime series, which is also coming from Netflix. And they're also working on a film, The Division, which is going to be starring Jessica Chastain and Jake Gyllenhaal. So they have a couple of different things going on at the moment. I missed those other two things there. I didn't know they were actually doing the Splinter Cell anime series and the Division movie, because that's interesting. Stanley Trill says, I don't own a single Ubisoft game, company non grata for me. Okay. Well, Raymond K. has said I'm a big AC fan. Please don't mention the movie. Yeah, the Michael Fassbender movie was really shitty. I mean, really shitty. I'm still playing Assassin's Creed Origins. I play it off and on again. Yeah, the last thing I've been playing lately has been Marvel's Avengers, is what I've been playing. And I already got through the end story for the main challenge, I guess you could say. So I've got the whole group together now at this point. Now I just got to build them up, because I went through pretty quickly and I didn't build them up as I should have. Yeah. You're not hyped for the Division movie, Morks? Why? Because of the content, since it's kind of too on the nose, or just in general? So, yeah, I think it's kind of in bad form, quite honestly. I mean, Michael Bay is also working on something that is set in 2024, and it's supposed to be about the COVID-19 virus, which is now mutated to the COVID-23 virus, is what they call it, which is much worse. And yeah, it's supposed to be a futuristic. It's called Songbird. He's working on that, and yeah, I'm like, no, that's a little too close to home, man. Yeah. Yeah. Mark says in general, video game movies haven't been that good. No, they haven't. Although the very first Super Mario Brothers with John Leguizamo and Dennis Hopper was fucking god awful. But no, yeah, yeah. All the Ubisoft games have had story, climb a radio tower to reveal the map. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dante, yes, that's what I said too. That is literally the plot of Songbird. Is it takes place in 2024, and yeah, they've released photos already for it online, and how you have cities that are walled off from people and things like that. So I'm not the one making the movie. I'm just telling you what's being made. Yeah. Speaking of what's being made, remember the movie series Ginger Snaps about a girl turned into a werewolf, and then it was more like soft core porn horror or horror porn or whatever it was, and was really really popular with older men for some reason. I don't know what it was. I was not one of them. Well, that Ginger Snaps movie series is becoming a TV series from the Killing Eve producers. No word as to what network is getting it as of yet, but yeah, uh, Ginger Snaps is being made into a TV series. You watched two of them, Pen? I think I watched half of the first one and fell asleep. And I was like, yeah, this is just softcore porn posing as a horror movie. So, yeah. Yeah, Killing Eve is good. At least I've heard. I haven't watched any of it. But yeah, this just sounds, I don't know, wrong, but who knows? But there you go. For those of you who are, Ginger Snap fans, you know who you are. Uh, Lena Headey and Luke Wilson have joined the voice cast for the animated Marvel series New Gen. So, what New Gen is supposed to be about, it's set in the future. You have two twin brothers, who have nanobots in their bloodstream, which have made them superheroes with these nanobots, and they are fighting to save the planet, of course, save Earth from some war that's happening. And yeah, I guess the environment's in danger and all that kind of stuff. So that's what's happening. But yeah, I mean, getting Lena Headey and Luke Wilson in there, nano midichlorians, yeah. Penn says Viking Mitch got me to watch Killing Eve season 1, and it was really good. Season 2 wasn't bad either. Yeah. Only Michael Bay could think this is a good idea. Yeah, Songbird. Yeah, Songbird was pretty horrible. It's a horrible idea. I talked about it when it was first floated. I think back in May or June, somewhere around there, and then hearing that it's moved forward even more. Yeah, no bueno. Maybe that'll get people to get excited to get vaccinated. No, what'll get people to get excited to be vaccinated is science. That's what people get excited about. Except for those people who think that science is a belief system instead of a is farming a belief system? No, it's not. Farming isn't a belief system. Neither is science. So, don't get me started. Yeah. Anyway, back to other stuff here. This one's actually pretty good. So the comic, The Strange Talent of Luther Strode, is being made into a movie. This is from 2011, the comic, The Strange Talent of Luther Strode. And I was having like a little aneurysm trying to remember it. And I'm like, oh yeah, I actually read that. That's actually really good. And what it's about this kid. He's a scrawny little kid who sends away from the back of a comic, one of those like Charles Atlas, build your muscles at home, mail away thing is what they used to have in the comics way back in the, dark ages. Well, he sends away for it, and instead he gets a kit from a mystical assassin's order that he follows all the instructions and ends up being this huge. He comes up being this huge dude and can kill anybody with pressure points and stuff like that. And of course, he becomes a target for this secret order because he got the wrong box that he was supposed to get. All from just following the instructions in the box. Yeah. And it's some pretty fantastical shit too. I mean, it's weird stuff. It's actually a really good comic, and I had forgotten all about it. But yeah, if you get a chance to, if you want to read, there's 3 series in it. It's the Strange Town of Luther Strode. I can't remember. I think it ends up with the Legend of Luther Strode. So there's 3 volumes, I guess you can say. Yeah. Yeah, I have Blood of Zeus in my queue, Stanley. Yeah, it's there. Netflix, of course, pushed it on me, like I'm sure they pushed it on everyone else. So, Raymond K. Hessel says that's the problem I have with Utopia. That dumb people will watch that and not want to get vaccinated. True, there is that. Who knows? Although people have their own really stupid reasons for not getting vaccinated. Xenu told me not to, or my dog spoke to me the other night and said, "Don't do it. Look what happened to me. I don't have nuts anymore." Yeah. Blood of Zeus isn't as good as Castlevania had a good writer. That's why you had Warren Ellis, and then Warren Ellis had to go and do some really fucked up things, and most likely going to jail too. So, yeah, he's no longer working at Netflix. Yeah. Mork says, "Hey, Xenu is mostly right about some of the times." No, he's not. Xenu's off doing what he does out in space, whatever he does out there, which from what I can tell isn't much. Hey, here's some good news. So Next has been canceled by Fox after 3 episodes of a 10-episode run. Yeah, if those of you don't know what Next is, good for you. Next is basically it was a series, I guess, on Fox that was about an AI that had gone rogue and was people were chasing it around the world. Why didn't it affect all computers all at the same time? No one really knows. But the ratings were so low on it. I think it was like a 0.05, which meant like only 50,000 people were watching it. So yeah. Next was so cookie cutter evil AI. Yeah, it looked bad. I mean, it looked like it was something from the 90s. Even from the when I saw the preview for it, I think I saw it as a commercial in one of my streaming services, and I started laughing. I'm like, "So is this a joke? Oh no, this is a real series." I thought it was like one of those joke series in a world where, they're doing the movie voiceovers and of course becomes a Geico commercial or something like that. It wasn't. It was a real series. And, yeah, that just yeah, Marks, I knew you were gonna come up with that joke. You get a timeout for that. Go and sit in the corner. You know what you did. Yeah. Um, Dr. Phlox was killed by the A oh, well, somebody had to do it. Yeah. Shit like that, if you don't know anything about tech and you're writing sci-fi and, like William Gibson, uh, it comes off bad. It does. And before anyone jumps on me about William Gibson, he's a known technophobe and he writes all of his stuff on an old typewriter. He does not use digital whatsoever. And yeah, he has even admitted it that he's a technophobe and a Luddite, as he calls himself. Yes. That's why I just can't take any of his sci fi seriously. Anyway, So now we've already hit Netflix raising their rates. Amazon has argued in court that users don't own digital copies of movies and TV series they have purchased, but instead have limited licenses to them. So again, this goes back to my whole argument of physical media and why I own pretty much everything physical media instead of buying it digitally, because you don't own the movie essentially. It could be taken away from you at any point in time. It could be changed at any point in time from whatever you bought. You do not own that copy. You just have a digital license, as they say. And if you think that Apple doesn't think the same way, they do. So does Google. Pretty much all of them do. Anybody who's selling digital merchandise, yeah, that's what they say. Isn't J.R.R. Martin using a DOS version of, yeah, I think he is, because he doesn't know how to use the new word is what it is. All I just want to say is word. Raymond K. Hessel says, I used to own a lot of DVDs, but after moving a couple of times, I said, fuck that. Um, Quite frankly, I just keep mine down to a good minimum. I don't do like thousands of them. I probably have about, I don't know, about 300. Basically, one of these bookshelves, it fills my DVD collection, which has yeah, 5 shelves. Excuse me. So that's not that bad. That's like 2 small boxes, and it works pretty well. Stanley says that's why I'm in favor of monthly subscriptions, no illusions of ownership. True. But then you have, hey, didn't that episode of Star Wars have Han shooting first? I can't remember. Yeah, it does happen. I just don't like shit getting changed. I really don't. Movie wise, I'm talking about, not, you know, progress and things like that. Yeah. Oh man. So the ever cursed production of Why the Last Man has supposedly started filming again. Now, if you remember, the guy that they had cast as Yorick, the lead, left. He was like, "Yeah, fuck this, I'm out." Um, well, now they've recast Yorick, of course. They've recast his sister. They've recast Agent 355. They've recast the president before what happens, the male president, I should say, which was played by Timothy Hutton. And the reason why they replaced Timothy Hutton is because, well, he's up for some rape charges at the moment. And yeah, and stemming back from a 1980s incident. So that's the reason. And they've also shrunk down his role too. And they've even gotten rid of the monkey. So the monkey that was playing on Friends, Gunter, has been replaced by a CGI monkey now. So yeah, everything has been changed at this point. Yeah. And also the showrunner too. So Eliza Clark is now the showrunner of the series, and it's begun production in Toronto. Uh, uh, I'm I don't even know if I want to see it now at this point. It's changed so many times from what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be a movie, then it's a TV show, then it bounced around to every single damn network, and now it's on FX, on Hulu, I think is what it is, which means it's probably going to die a very slow death or a very fast death, depending on how many people buy into it. Yeah. So Gunter was the flamboyant coffee shop. Oh well. What do you want, man? I watched Friends when it was originally on back in the 90s. I don't remember any of that shit anymore. It was a, core dump of knowledge that I didn't need. So it's gone. Marcel. Uh, Well, you know who I have to blame for that one, Raymond? It was, Nick Frost, because I was watching, Truth Seekers, and they mentioned Friends, and he calls the monkey Gunter in it. That's where it was. That's where I got it from, and I happened to be watching that last night, is what I was watching. So you can blame Nick Frost on that one. Uh, does your Disney Plus have the MCU Hulk movie? It shouldn't, because that's owned by, Universal, or it's part of Universal. Um, yeah, because Marvel Studios, I think, produced it, but it was Universal Studios owned it. I don't remember. I haven't looked. Dennis saw it before they were friends. Mhm. Yeah. Marks, if you're gonna do the stand-up stuff, you need to, like, polish it up a little bit more. Take it out on the road a little bit. Do some Monday night open mics a little bit, and see if you can get that material polished up. Keep a book is what you want to do, and just make sure that you write down those jokes, and then polish them up a little bit, and then bring them to the group, and then we can all decide on them after that. Stanley says, I thought maybe the rights situation could be different in the states. No, if anything, the rights are more restrictive in the states. Yeah. Penn says, Friends wasn't something I ever thought I'd enjoy, but it had its moment. Yeah, it was something that you had on. I remember back in my day, um, so it used to be on Thursday nights. It was with Seinfeld too, if I remember correctly. That was, yeah. And so at the time, I was at UC Davis, is what it was. Yes. And Thursday nights I'd go into the gym and they'd have the TV on. They always have it on. And so they had that whole Thursday night block on. And I remember when Seinfeld would come on, everyone would gather around the TV in the gym except for me, because that meant all the machines were open. So I could do what I wanted to do, which was great. Yeah. Must see TV. I think it was the must see TV thing. Yeah. But yeah, Marcel the monkey. Sorry, Marcel the monkey. I get things wrong. You know this. Speaking of wrong, Legendary Pictures is going to base a movie off of a Chinese webcomic called I'm a Killer Maid. And I'm a Killer Maid is described as a story that follows a retired assassin trying to live a normal life as a housemaid for a shy, nerdy comic book writer who rarely leaves his house, only to accidentally swap bodies with her boss. I can't make this shit up, man. I really can't. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of the Freaky Friday shit is coming back again, unfortunately. Like Vince Vaughn is in a, I think on a Netflix one, or I can't remember which one it is, where he's supposed to be a serial killer who trades bodies with a cheerleader, and then he uses her body to kill a whole bunch of people and frame her for it. Yeah, we don't need to do the Freaky Friday shit anymore. We really don't need to do it. It also needs to leave genre TV, because there is a trope, or one episode has to be a switching bodies episode. Oh, no, stop. We've seen enough of it. It's been like 40, 50 years of that shit already. 60 years since Freaky Friday originally came out. So yeah, we don't need any more of it. Stop. Morg says, and you said my material sounds bad. This sounds, yeah, this one's horrible. Well, it's, come on, it's based off a web comic. There, no, now granted, there are some good web comics out there. This doesn't sound like one of them. So yeah. Uh so Barry meets Freaky Friday. Uh no, not really. This is more like John Wick meets Freaky Friday. That's what it is, Raymond. remember, she's retired. She's trying to live a normal life. Then they, kill her dog and take her car. And then she swaps bodies with her boss and goes out and exacts revenge. I don't know. Sometimes, the shit comes around and you just kind of look at it and you're like, really? Really? You're going to do this kind of stuff? But you know what? It's something new. I'll have to say that much. They probably said, you know what? That fucker Dennis keeps saying that we keep remaking stuff all the time. So here, we'll give him something new. Here, how's this? And then I just go, what the fuck? Yeah. Maybe it'll surprise you. Maybe it'll be really good. Yeah. Maybe give it 4 episodes. Thanks, Pen. Yeah. Maybe the nerd accidentally put in Freakazoid code. Oh, possibly. 4 minutes, maybe. Oh, here's some good news. So Gendy Tartakovsky, who of course is doing Primal right now, on Adult Swim. His latest animated series that he's working on for HBO Max and Cartoon Network is called Unicorn Warriors Eternal. Yes, I know it's got a weird title, but it's Gendy Tartakovsky, okay? It's about heroes from myths and legends from all over the world that are reincarnated into teens' bodies to fight and save the world once again. I'm in because usually everything that he does is pretty fucking good. So, yeah, Primal is really good, isn't it, Pen? It's one of those shows that it's primal. It really is. It has no dialogue other than some grunts, groans, and kind of thing. But the story is just well done, and I mean it's violent as fuck. Excuse me. You see 8 men getting ripped in half and their entrails getting going, but yeah. Stanley Tweedle says tweens again. Remember, Stanley, it's going for Cartoon Network. So he Gendy Tartakovsky changes things up. He will do stuff for kids and he'll also do stuff for adults. So Primal is his adults based thing. This one, which I just forgot what the title was, Unicorn Warriors Eternal, is on Cartoon Network, which is based for kids. So kind of like what he did with Dexter's Laboratory and Powerpuff Girls, things of that nature, which were for kids. Samurai Jack was also for kids, even though it ended up being a lot darker than it should have been. Samurai Jack is for kids, Stanley. That was marketed squarely at children. That's the reason why all he ever killed was robots. He never killed people until the final season. The final season that they brought back, what was it? It was after like a couple of years of it being off the air. He ended up killing his first person, and actually they went into a whole episode about that. I just watched that one recently, as a matter of fact, and because I had never finished off the series. Yeah. And that was that was Adult Swim is what the last season was on that one. Works. I love Dexter's Laboratory. The first 3 seasons, the last one. Yeah, he wasn't involved in the last. I think in the last one. He's really good. He set things up, and then he'll run a couple of seasons, and he leaves to go do something else. Leaves other people in charge. They get switched out, and then everything falls to hell. Although Powerpuff Girls, like I said, is being made into a live action series over at the CW. Don't ask me. I just give you the news. That's about it. Yeah. And speaking of the CW, which is a great segue, February 23rd, Superman and Lois premieres on the CW. I'm actually looking forward to this, to tell you the truth. So this is the Superman and Lois that we've seen in Supergirl And I'm wondering if they're going to leave the kids in there because at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earths, uh, it was revealed that he and Lois have two boys, two teenage boys. And I'm wondering if they're going to leave it at that because it is now the uh, after Crisis on Infinite Earths. What happened there, the Earth as it is now. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Superman and Lois. Now that Arrow's gone and we don't have the brooding mess to deal with, maybe we can get some good fun stuff. And Supergirl's gonna be gone too. This next season is its final season for Supergirl, so it'll be a nice segue going into Superman and Lois. I don't know, Pen. I mean, because it was kind of a throwaway line. He was flying. He gets a phone call from Lois, and Lois tells him to come in. He's got to check on the boys. And they mentioned, I think, something about high school is what it was. And it was kind of like, what? And then he flies off, and we're like, what? You can't just do that. Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says, but the CW, I never wanted to go back there. Too bad, Stanley. That's what's going to happen. So you got to remember now that Warner Media, Time Warner, AT&T. I'm just going to call them AT&T. What they've done now is they split the DC price point, I guess you could say, into three different categories. You have, or they did have three different categories. So CW is the lowest tier possible, which is the cheapest amount of money that they're willing to spend on a series. HBO Max, of course, is the highest amount that they're willing to spend on a series. It used to be that DC Universe was in the middle there, but then they removed DC Universe. So yeah, you either have CW or HBO Max. So HBO Max is a lot of money. CW is very little money. You'll have to go back for Stargirl anyway. Man, that last episode was just so bad of Stargirl. I mean, the way they killed off Icicle was just fucking stupid. Spoiler alert if that's the case, if none of you have seen it, but that's what that little spoiler alert signs up there for. Yeah. Yeah, Stargirl was a lot of fun up until the end. There was some stupid stuff in there too, but it was just like, fuck. That ending was bad. That ending was rushed. Yeah. And speaking of rushed endings and just bad programming altogether, um, NBC Universal, which of course really, really fucking hates anything having to do with genre. I don't know why they own a whole channel called Sci-Fi, which was used to be called Sci-Fi. But the Peacock has canceled Brave New World after one season. Erlock, who was in the guy who played Han Solo in the Han Solo story, he was in Brave New World. So every fucking thing he touches, they're trying to make this guy a star, and he's not star quality. I'm sorry, he isn't. It's kind of like Ryan Gosling. He's very pretty, but can't act for shit. So stop. Give him some modeling gigs. Do what is his strong suit at that point. Do what they did for Jessica Alba. No lines, but stand in the background, make her look pretty. There you go. That's what they need to do for him. Yeah. You're insulting Ryan Gosling? Yes, I am, because he doesn't know how to act. And it's true. He doesn't know how to act. Here's Ryan Gosling angry. Here's Ryan Gosling sad. Here's Ryan Gosling pensive. Ryan Gosling surprised. Happy? Okay, I'll do Ryan Gosling happy. There you go. That is his range of emoting in acting. So yes. Oh God, he is like the worst actor. Well, I take that back, except for Ruby Rose. Ruby Rose is actually the worst actor. There you go. By comparing not Han Solo to him. Oh, is that what it was? That because I compared Ryan Gosling to him. They're the same acting school, most likely. Yeah. Uh, Raymond, I actually saw The Nice Guys in the theater because it was, if I remember correctly, it was Shane Black. Yeah, because it was set at Christmas time, so it was Shane Black. That's right. And I was pretty pissed about it. I wanted to like it, and it wasn't. It wasn't good. It would have been a great video movie, like a rental or on cable or something like that, but not on the big screen. Pissed me off. Although I did love that they had Earth, Wind, and Fire at the house party that was going on, and it looked like Earth, Wind, and Fire. It was kind of really cool that they did that. But then again, it's Shane Black, so of course he's gonna do stuff like that. Don't insult actors by calling Ruby Rose one. I agree with you, Stanley. That was my bad. Clive Barker is now on board as an executive producer for Hellraiser the series, which is being made over at HBO. Okay. I really don't need to see, like I said, I'm tired of this nostalgia stuff of reviving old series, old movies from 40 years ago, and then going, okay, we're doing a sequel now, or okay, we're going to do a TV series and we're going to bring back the old cast, and they're in their walkers and their wheelchairs and they're coming up like, yeah. And no, I don't need that. Unless you were legitimately doing a good sequel to it for a reason. Back to the Future 4 notwithstanding. Last Starfighter, the way he's working on it could be a legitimate sequel, but not too sure on that one. But then again, that was a one-off movie. It didn't have a franchise to it. It was a one-off movie, The Last Starfighter. I'm okay with that. But doing something like, Ghostbusters, which had a franchise, and then, yeah. Anyway. Yeah, just I'm not into it. You thought I said Hellblazer at first? No, Hellraiser. Yeah. Your suffering will be legendary even in hell. That kind of Hellraiser, yes. Ben says, no, I like the movies, but I don't want any more. Raymond Cass says, I agree, but a gory movie like Hellraiser would greatly benefit from modern horror techniques. I guess, but yeah. Meh. Meh. I want to see something new. That's all it is. I'm tired of the same old, same old. Yeah. So, for those of you who bought a badge to Comic-Con and got a badge, I should say, to Comic-Con for 2020, and of course it was postponed because of or went digital because of the pandemic that we've got going on. And you haven't returned your badge and asked for a refund, your badge will be rolled over into 2021. And no new badge sales are going to happen for Comic-Con 2021. For those of us unlucky bastards, I guess, depending on how you look at it, who never got the badge, we're not going to be allowed in to buy anything. So for those of you who have badges to Comic-Con 2020, you're now going to 2021 instead. Good luck. May the odds ever be in your favor of not catching COVID-19. There you go. Just remember to mask up and sanitize fucking everything that you can if you're going to go. Yeah. Because, yeah, I wouldn't go. Wash your ass. Exactly, Morks. Wash your ass. That is one of the roots of COVID-19, by the way, is stool and fecal material. So I wouldn't even go anywhere near those bathrooms whatsoever, just because of the fecal plumes. Yes. COVID-19 is so if those of you who don't know, a lot of universities have been sampling sewer water to find out if there are COVID-19 positive cases in buildings and things like that. And that's how they have been finding, uh, COVID-19 cases. This started in, I want to say it was like Irvine or Santa Barbara or something like that. They started doing it. And now everyone's doing it. Yeah, even over here at UCSD, they're doing it as well. And they find cases. Trust me, it pops up. They know of a building that has a case. So what they do is they say to the people in those buildings, we want you to get tested, and they get tested, and they usually end up finding one or two people that are test positive because of the fecal material. Yes. So it's fecal material, it's urine as well. Even though urine is sterile, it still comes out in the urine. Uh, yes. That's why this virus is so fucking weird, man, is because it comes out in different ways and it attacks different things. It attacks the brain, not just the respiratory system, but it also attacks the brain. It attacks the kidneys, the heart. It goes to the digestive system. It's all over the fucking place. So, yeah, there you go. Any book suggestions? You're asking Penn on that one too, not me. Thanks, man. Don't ask me for any book suggestions. Fine. I'll just go back to the news then. This is actually the last thing I got for the news here, and then I'll let you guys go. December 31st will be the fourth and final season of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, which drops on Netflix. So New Year's Eve, you can go to hell and with Sabrina and find out what's going on there. Yeah. I'm actually gonna watch it. I'm gonna finish off the series. It's the third season was kind of yeah. So we'll see how the fourth season goes at this point. It's been fun for the most part. There's some interesting stuff in it. There's some stuff that's annoying too, but you know, for the most part, it's been pretty good. I would say like 90% good, 10% yeah, questionable. Stanley says it affects the brain, so 40% of the world already has it, Stanley, not just the US. Yeah, 40% of the world. Yeah. Even though we may act crazier here. Yeah. But that's other things. No, that's okay. You could have left it there. That's fine. Oh man. So yeah, I'm watching Truth Seekers right now on Amazon Prime. That is what I've been because that's coming up on Tuesdays. Is it worth my time? I gotta watch Hellstrom episode 3 and see what's going on there. You saw the first episode? It gets better. The first episode was kind of meh, meh. And I was almost gonna drop it after the first episode, and I'm like, all right, I'll give the second episode a try. I'll do it. And then I'll tell you, I'll give you a preview right now. The thing that I don't like is and I know it's British TV is what it is. It's the British propensity for doing comedy horror and not knowing what the how to weigh it properly. So sometimes the comedy takes the hit and the horror, steps up. But 9 times out of 10, you know, the horror takes the back seat and the comedy is the one that is trying to raise up, unless it's really bad comedy, and then you're just kind of going, eh. And sometimes that does happen where you have established people that are known for doing comedy and then they kind of stumble. Yeah, Malcolm McDowell, actually, I was surprised he was in it as well. And that's actually been the highlight of my of my viewing is watching him in there because now that he's of an age where he just doesn't give a fuck, um, he's been hilarious, and that's one of the things I like about him. He was in God, it was a TNT series with Breckenmeyer. Fuck, I can't remember what it was. And Mark Paul Gosselaar as well about lawyers, and he was their boss, and he was the best part about it. He was their boss, and the show ran on TNT, I think, for like 3 seasons, something like that. But yeah, he was the best thing about it because he was just out there, and every time there was an episode with him in it, I loved it. Yeah. Yeah, the stair lift gag was funny. I have to admit, Stanley. You can't control me. That was funny. But then again, it was sold because of Malcolm McDowell on that one. I think if it was any other actor, it wouldn't have been funny. So, yeah. I'll be watching Sam Raimi tonight. Who's with me? What's he on, Raymond? What's Sam Raimi doing? Or are you just watching a movie that Sam Raimi has directed? Is that what you're doing here? Ah, okay, his movies. Okay, so you're gonna be doing like Evil Dead and all that kind of stuff. I would say Drag Me to Hell. Drag Me to Hell is actually a pretty good one. Yeah. I live close enough to his house, Stanley, but I've been told I'm not supposed to visit anymore. It happens. There were some misunderstandings. There was, some olive oil involved and just all kinds of other things. Well, we're not going to talk about it though. At least I'm not supposed to, according to the court orders. Mhm. Bruce Campbell, on the other hand, man, Susan's actually stalking Bruce Campbell. If you don't know who I'm talking about Susan, Susan Lighton. She's out there in the Twitterverse and all that kind of stuff. Yes. I can mention her because she doesn't watch this show at all. All right. I should probably let you guys go. You have to watch more Last Kids on Earth. Have you liked it at all, Stanley? Have you whatever you've watched, have you liked it so far? You haven't gotten to the Bruce part yet. Yeah. He's in there deep into the series. So, yeah. And Mark Hamill as well. I think they pop up in the last third of the first season. Yeah, like I said, it's a kids show primarily. The writing gets better though as it goes on. And I don't know what happened. Uh, I think when Mark Hamill and Bruce Campbell came in is when the writing also went and kind of jumped up there a bit, but maybe it's just me. So, yeah. So what else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Tomorrow is the third episode of Hellstrom, the Hulu series. I'm going to be covering that. Monday, I'm going to be off. Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? And this time around, it's the Amazon series Truth Seekers that I was just talking about there. Wednesday, I'll be off. And Thursday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? I don't know what it's going to be as of yet. I'll think of something, though, at this point. And Friday will be The Mandalorian. That's right, The Mandalorian season 2. And then, of course, we roll back around to Saturday for Saturday morning blast off and the genre news of the week and any of the genre stuff you guys want to talk about. So, yes, Stanley, I made no bones about it. The Last Kids on Earth is definitely made for children, but sometimes I like that stuff too. It's not bad if it's written well. Exactly as Penn says, help me get to 1,000 subs. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. And if you like what you see in the video there, hit that subscribe button down there. There you go. If you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, hit the bell down below. It's a 50-50 chance of YouTube actually notifying you. Best thing to do is go to suspendedfanimation.com, take a look at the schedule that's up there. And also all the links to my social media are up there as well. And the links to this YouTube channel, my Facebook page, and a Facebook group page where you guys can post stuff and chat amongst yourselves for those of you who still have Facebook. So Stanley says I have to watch more of the Star Wars Gallery docu-series. Yeah, Star Wars Masterpiece, I think is what it's called, Stanley. I always forget what it's called too, because it's kind of a mouthful of whatever the series is, and I just get confused as to what it is. I just look it up, and if I see people with a camera and that have directed some of the Star Wars episodes, the Mandalorian episodes, and I'm like, that's it. It says Star Wars, Yeah. I agree with you, Raymond. The volume was amazing. Some other Fox is doing that. Fox in Australia is building their own volume, and it's supposed to be larger and like about 3 times larger, from what I understand. It's going to be like or you can do buildings and shit inside of it. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. This is the new movie studio, especially for pandemics and stuff like that. If you can't get out and do, you know, um, on location shooting or something like that, and you still have, close up shots to do, mid shots to do, things like that, you can actually just recreate it in the volume and have all the same lighting and do your stuff there. Yeah. hmm yeah, it's amazing. So a lot of those shots that are done in The Mandalorian, especially the first episode, if you guys watch the first episode where he's in the mining town, and when he and the marshal are stepping outside and outside of the bar, the cantina, and they're being lit, that's actually being lit by the volume because they have an overhead panel of screens, and they have screens surrounding it as well. So that's not natural light. That is actually lighting from the screens that they are that are around them, I should say. It looks like sunlight. It really does. It even plays like sunlight, and it's amazing. They just did a great job of putting this together. And again, this is something that Lucas had envisioned back when he was doing the prequels, episodes 1, 2, and 3, and he wanted to do something like that. And I remember, and I've said this before, having that same kind of idea where if you can put actors, and I thought about it from the bullet time perspective. So bullet time actually uses a half curve of cameras around an actor, and then it fills in the spaces in between. So you can have a panning shot around an actor in slow motion and do it that way. And I was thinking, well, you could do a plexiglass sphere, if you will, with green screen around it. And this is back in the day I was thinking about this. And you can have cameras mounted in a circular motion, both X and Y axes, like two, like a big cross, if you will. And you could actually spin those cameras around the actors as they walk across a plexiglass platform, if you will. And you could build everything else around them. So you can shoot them from below, you can shoot them from above, you can shoot them from front, back, whatever, and have it all be put together seamlessly as one big screen, which is what they're doing. I'm loving the tracking shots, the crane shots and stuff like that Favreau has been doing in the first episode of season 2, and with using the volume, so it shows that they've actually put cranes overhead as well. So in the volume, so you can have cameras swooping down. Yes, I did go to film school at one point. Well, not film school, film classes, I guess you could say. And technically, it is film school with my other degree, my media art and animation degree, because we have to go through a whole bunch of film school techniques and stuff like that. So sometimes I know what I'm talking about. Raymond K. Hessel says, which one is major reason they made Mando's armor shiny to show off the lighting? Yeah. Stanley Tweedle says the parts with the dog fight in the cockpit were fascinating. The moving stars are projected via the volume. Yeah. The other thing that's cool about that, Stanley, is the cockpit that Filoni is sitting in is actually, if you've ever been, so I've been over to Disneyland to Galaxy's Edge before the pandemic happened and everything, and they have sitting outside a life-size mock-up of X-wing and also a speeder that's out, not a speeder, but another transport that's out there, and they have the same thing over in Florida at Galaxy's Edge in Disney World. Well, the one that was getting transported to Florida at the time, because that was the first one that opened Galaxy's Edge over there, they diverted it to the studio and they removed some of the innards so Dave Filoni could sit inside of it. And then they filmed the scenes with Dave Filoni in it because he's one of the pilots. Actually, of the 3 pilots that are in the X-Wings, they're all directors of the series. And then they put all the shit back into the X-Wing and shipped it off to Florida, and it's sitting outside at Galaxy's Edge. So the one that Dave Filoni sat in is actually at Galaxy's Edge in Florida. You have such a varied knowledge, but well, what can I say? I take some stuff in that I like. Yeah. Haven't seen more yet. Oh, okay. And the dark saber was actually a glowing sword. Yeah. I loved I love the way they described how they set up the dark saber. And I was like, well, the way they did it, they could actually put that in production and actually sell it. And I'd fucking buy it. If it was $500, I would still probably buy it. I'd find a way of getting $500 for that because it looked awesome. How do film school and physics classes mix? Fairly easily, actually, Raymond. When you're doing animation, you need to know how things are going to move physics wise. And then, of course, you need to know how to film them, you know, and what angle is best. You can have a bouncing ball that just bounces boom, 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 boom across the screen like this, or you can have it bouncing towards you, or you can have it bounce to the side. Then also, how do you light it? Things like that. So, but you also have to have the squash and stretch is what we call it in animation. So when something like a ball bounce, that's one of the first things you learn to animate is a bouncing ball. So you get the squash when it lands. So you get, squash. And then of course, when it retracts and goes up, you get the stretch. And it's all physics because you need to follow that arc in physics. And if you look at some of the like old Tex Avery stuff, that's what he did was he did a lot of squash and stretch on his characters, and others other animators also followed suit with their characters. So your characters squash and stretch where before they were kind of rigid. Um, Betty Boop does it too, like the old Betty Boop cartoons, Felix the Cat, stuff like that. Yeah. Stanley says these kind of studies would have worked wonders for Star Trek: The Discovery writers. Yeah, that's if they actually knew how to write. I'm sorry, I'm not into it. Pen Farm Girl says nothing would have saved them, Stanley. I don't think they cared. No, they don't. All they care about is money, what the money's going to bring in. Yeah. That's all the Star Trek Discovery writers care about. They don't care about the fans or the story. What is that? I read the synopsis for the was it season 2 or season 3 that they're on now, the season 3 finale, and I was just like going, "Okay, that would have been an interesting way of going, but you still don't have enough context in it." Yeah. Raymond K. also says, "Actually, I do love The Expanse for its physics, so I stand corrected." Yeah. One of the very first episodes, actually, I think it is the very first episode of Babylon 5, deals with physics, as a matter of fact. So someone kills someone and then stuffs the body out the airlock. Well, simple physics is a mass, you know, a greater mass will attract a smaller mass, and the smaller mass will orbit the greater mass. So the body was actually orbiting the space station, and they found the body orbiting the space station. And I was like, physics, yay! That was the first episode of Babylon 5. And when Garibaldi was talking about how they found the body outside there. Yeah. Yeah. Stanley says, in contrast to that, Dave Filoni is a super fan who seems, yeah, Dave Filoni is a super huge fan. When you get further along into it, Stanley, there is a great um, reminiscing that Dave Filoni has about the time that he got the call for Clone Wars to work on Clone Wars, and how he was getting called by Lucasfilm. And at the time, he was working on, oh God, I can't remember what he was working on. He was working on another animated project. I think it was Avatar is what he was working on. And he thought it was a joke by his fellow coworkers because they knew how much he loved Star Wars. And that's the part that just makes me laugh. I mean, he goes into detail about how he did it, and he's a great storyteller. I mean, he's a very good storyteller, and I enjoy watching his stuff and seeing what he has. And now seeing that he's actually doing live action, I mean, fuck. Yeah. Stanley says physics, like the dead people in the shitty sci-fi cruise ship comedy. Yeah, Avenue 5. Yeah. So I was actually kind of surprised they did real physics in Avenue 5. That was about the only saving grace of it, was they actually did real physics in that. Yeah. So with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go for the day. Thank you to everybody who joined me tonight, who didn't join me today, I should say, in the chat. Thank you if you made it this far in the video. I'm gonna let you guys go. So have a happy and safe Halloween out there. Don't congregate at all. I mean, come on. We were having another uptick in, COVID cases. So have a happy and safe Halloween at home. Watch some horror movies, drink some whatever libation you want to drink, to celebrate. And I'll see you on tomorrow for Hellstrom episode 3. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may have to figure out what physics has to do with an orbiting space station. It does have a lot to do with it. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe, be well, take care, and have a good rest of your day and evening. Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.